Hello, Mr. B. Wakey, wakey. It's time to... That's right, time to get back to work. I tell you, I must have the laziest bees in all of Minecraft. Hello there, and welcome back to AlphaCraft. Last time, we set aside all our pranking ways and got down to business and even managed to finish up the nether tunnel. Now today, the plan is to focus on our next shop and, okay. Why is there a block in the middle of the path? Me thinks this might be someone trying to get my attention. Now the question is, do I break the block or do I assume it's been trapped? What to do? Ah, well, let's go with brave. Huh. Well, that was anticlimactic. Maybe I'm just being paranoid here, but, maybe I should explore and see if there's any other strange things going on. Well, hey, buddy, what are you doing over here? You're normally over by the front door, oh. Well, that's been messed with. I would never place a front door like that. Looks like the window shutters have been messed with, and... Okay, I've got a pressure plate inside there. You know what? Let's try and go in through the window and see what we see. Okay, and nothing about that. Looks like it's trapped. Let's just break it and see what happens. There we go. Alrighty. That's the same, that's the same. That's the same. Someone's obviously been here, but I don't know what to make of all this. Well, let me have a look around and I'll let you know what I find. Okay, so obviously there was the door and the window that had been messed with, and Buddy Boy's been hanging out on the side of the house until I get around to making an actual doghouse for him, so he was moved. I found a cow in a kelp farm / bathhouse, but that may have just been a cow looking to cool off. Full blocks were placed over my chest, preventing me from opening them. The crafting table and ender chest were moved. Horsey was moved. You know, it was just lots of little minor poking the bear things. Things that I could normally let slide. Until, that is, I saw this. And, you know, I've really been trying to take a break from all the pranks, all the trolling, and just be a nice little alpha crafter and you know, not keep poking people and trying to instigate a prank war or anything. I wouldn't want a prank war. I mean, who would want a prank war? That's the act of a crazy person. I would not want that at all. But anyway, like I was saying, I really try. I'm trying. And then someone comes along and breaks my prize-winning Fern. Whoever you are, you will pay. You will pay. but seriously, though, someone who shall remain nameless, Alphastar, I thought it'd be a good idea to mess with me a little bit, and you know, I kind of made a unspoken rule that I wouldn't mess around with any of the Northerners, other than Gobspit, and you know, I just wouldn't mess with Northerners, because, you know, everyone who has a base along the northern nether tunnel, we're all a family up here, and I don't want to be enemies with anybody up here, but I don't think I can let this pass, but I'm not gonna do anything big, nothing big. He went small and subtle, and I can do small and subtle. I can do that. I can do small and subtle. So I decided he doesn't have another tunnel yet, so let's just block him in. Only good people get nether tunnel access, and good people don't break ferns. Yeah, there. That'll do. That's subtle, right? Mr. B, are you okay? You know, that's a roof. That's not a flower, that's a roof. Why don't you go on home? What is wrong with my bees? Strange bee problems aside, as anyone who's watched me over the years knows, I love doing end raids. The first GGG shop ever made started out as a shop that changed what it sold every week or two, but by the end, it specialized in elytras. Ever since, whether I have an elytra shop or not, I always end up with tons of them in storage. Now, it's definitely easier to get diamond items from villagers, but for my money, it's more fun to get them from end cities, and bonus! I get elytras at the same time. It's still pretty early on, and I already have a chest of elytras in storage, so it may be time to open up a shop and share the wealth. That wealth being other people's wealth being shared with me for all those wonderful, wonderful elytras, of course. Now, I built a similar shop like this a couple of years ago on a different world, but it was near the end of the season and not many people got to see it. The idea was to make a giant billboard-style shop on the walls of the city the shop was in, but I thought I could take that idea a step further this time around. Last time I was constrained by space, but this time I can make it as big as I want and add any and all frills that pop into my head. Right now, we just need to fill these last 2 columns with white wool. Then we can frame it with some deep slate tile blocks. And there we go. That's one wing of the billboard done. Now I just have to mirror that around to the other 3 billboards. Cue the time-lapse music! So, we're back in my creative world with my endless display of half-formed ideas. Here you can see where this is the original design for the Elytra shop that I built a couple years ago. You know, it's kind of the same, but a little bit different. I was playing around with GGG banners that year. This is the design I just built earlier in the video. And you can see where I was playing around with. Maybe I'll use ice around it instead of white wool, you know, to be the sky. And, you know, it kind of works. You know, I could have done it that way, but it just, I didn't want that. That didn't work for me. So I tried it over here. I tried it in diagonal, and the immediate reaction was no, not doing diagonal, no. So then it's like, okay, well, you know, I want to do this as a billboard idea, but gotta have a shop that's gonna support it, and so I just came up with this little round shop underneath the billboard. And imagine this is the frame for the billboard, you know. And so it's a little round shop, but I was playing around. You know, every single wall on this thing is different. So I was just playing around with, you know, okay, you normally enter a shop through the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, and I was like, well, I'm going to have this billboard with the 4 wings So then you'd be kind of entering underneath the wing. Well, why don't we enter through the diagonal? So this would be the floor of the shop. And I was like, okay. And this, I was just using oak and mud bricks to contrast a little bit with the sandstone. And I was playing around with, I'll do it like this, because this way the fences don't connect with the walls, and just trying things out. I kind of like, I don't know what this style of architecture is called, but for whatever reason, I've been obsessed with this idea of an open wall, open air design to builds. For some reason, I'm just avoiding closed-in walls. I don't know why. I don't do it intentionally. Every time I try and build something, that design element seems to be there. But I like this. I like this idea. And this is kind of what I'm going to end up with. We're on a mushroom island, so lighting isn't going to be a big issue. So I was like, well, I can actually use soul lanterns this time, because these things provided a pathetic amount of light. But, the blue color goes better with sandstone than the regular lantern, so I was like, well, why not? It's one of the few times I can actually use it. So, and you can see how far my thought process went. Yeah, I'll just do some kind of dome cover. That's enough. Yeah, it's close enough. Okay, I'm done. And then I had the idea, well, let's see if we can do a GGG logo in the floor. And you just see, I never finish a thought. Here's a big G and a little G, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. But I never did an actual GGG. Just got to imagine that one would be over here. And I was just playing around with, do I use the smooth texture for sandstone, or do I do this cobblestone sandstone texture to break it up and create a little bit of contrast? And if you don't know how you do that, you put a upside down sand or upside down stair to get the cobblestone appearance. It's the only way you can do it. It's the only sandstone block that does that. And I kind of like that. So I was like, okay, so we'll do a GGG logo on the floor and use the water in the stairs to have the blue against the yellow, and we'll do this little round shop with open walls, and this is the frame of the billboard, and we'll use this. We'll just have a little arch support over here, and yeah, we'll do something like that. And this is as far as I took it. Now, let's go back to the AlphaCraft server and see what it all looks like together. Now, bear with me while I go over this. In the last month of me not making videos, I accidentally deleted the replay footage that would have allowed me to better show the shop at this stage of the build. But, we can make this work. The GGG logos on the floor turned out as expected, and I liked how the shop itself turned out. It may look small, but that's actually part of the design. I wanted the shop to be kind of ridiculously small compared to the billboard advertising what it sells. I mean, it only sells one item and it has these huge billboards on top of it. It's just meant to be silly how big it is in contrast. Now, this was as far as I planned for the build, and everything kind of works as I thought, except for one thing. The build is way out of balance, and what I mean by that is, although I like the arches that support the billboards, they really kind of make the billboards look small, and everything just looks out of whack. It doesn't work quite right together. So I had to do a lot of thinking to figure out how am I going to bring everything into balance and make it look like everything is the size it should be. And I ended up coming up with this. And here we are at the final version of the shop, named In-Flight Entertainment LLC. And I hope it's a little clearer now what I meant by the build was out of balance. I like the billboards as they were. I mean, I like the little sandstone shop, and I like the arch support I came up with, but the arches extending out beyond the edges of the billboards made them look more like an attempt at an art piece than as a fundamental support for the overall structure. The buy now sections that I added to the billboard were not planned at all, but they turned out to be a crucial part of the build. Not only did they balance the build out, they added to the whole idea of them being billboards. Because I went with block lettering, I could only fit in 3-letter words, but I think you'll agree, buy now is all the billboard ever really needed to say. Now, I could have gone with banner lettering, but banners have one major flaw to them, which is they don't even display until you are relatively close to them. And this is better because this can be seen in red from any distance. But enough about the billboard. The foundation of the build announces that this is a GGG shop and makes use of the cobbled sandstone texture to contrast with the normally smooth texture of the top of sandstone blocks. The platform itself went from being a square to a sort of angular circular shape. I could have gone full circle, but I think this works better as a plaza-style shop. Let's take a look at it on the map. My only disappointment is that you can't see the GGG logos on the map, but that's out of my control. Now here you can see I added in some azalea bushes to beautify the shop and used semi-full composters to act as the soil for the bushes. Then I added in park benches all around to add to the plaza feel. Just a place to give people a chance to rest after spending all their diamonds on their brand new GGG flight suits. TM. And also, campfires are a good way to hide actual light sources for the shop. Down here on the ground, I'm using soul lanterns more for the blue coloring of them than for the light they provide. And speaking of lighting, I tried to add some more modern-day style billboard lights to the tops and the sides of the billboards so that at night this shop is lit up as bright as day. I think they turned out all right. And finally, down at the center of the build is the tiny shop that actually sells the GGG flight suits. I also added dragon heads to the shop because when you're flying around in your brand new flight suit, you may as well buy a dragon head mask and pretend you're a dragon, right? What could be better? But there you go. That's the new Elytra shop. I really like how it all turned out. I was getting a little worried about it while building it, but I eventually stumbled on something that I liked. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. What are you guys doing up? It's time to sleep. Off to bed with a lot of ya. I swear, my bees just refuse to be normal. Oh well, they're in bed now and the video is running a bit long, so I think I'm gonna cut it there. I hope you enjoyed the video, but until next time, I have been Gragore, and this has been AlphaCraft. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, always try and find a way to make it fun. See ya! Next time on AlphaCraft. Ew, no. This is not going to end well for anybody. Oh well, I tried.